This programme looks at how Hampton Hill Junior School in Richmond has built up its modern foreign languages department from scratch. From the humble beginnings of a parent-led French club to the successful running of French and even Japanese classes.
Excellent. Okay.
I think for all primary schools, the major concern over the last few years has just been the pressure on the timetable. So many new initiatives, so many new ideas. How do you fit it all in?
Some people feel under pressure to introduce an MFL all at once, in one go, throughout the whole key stage. I would suggest that schools actually consider introducing it 1 year at a time, so that their strategy is to introduce gradually the modern foreign language. For example, starting with year 3 and then progressing the next year with year 3 and year 4.
All our children at Hampton Hill Junior School learn French. The year 5 and 6 pupils are taught by an advanced skills teacher, Capon, whose part-time teacher works in our school and also in other schools, but is based here. And each of the classes has a 40-minute lesson. Lots of incidental French goes on as well, through the register being taken in French, the date, names and so on. The year 3 and 4 pupils are taught French by their own teachers, and again Christine has led the in-service training for those teachers to help them with their own French and the schemes of work that we use.
As an AST, I get involved in training other teachers to help them with their own CPD to make them more independent as foreign language teachers. This works in 2 ways. Sometimes I work directly on a one-to-one basis with a teacher. I do demonstration lessons, we do team teaching, and I might observe them after a while with their growing confidence.
Un oiseau. Un oiseau. Ah, ça c'est excellent.
When Christine comes in once a week, I'm able to see the bank of words that the children have been using, and I try to incorporate that into lessons.
Okay, très bien. And what about Anna? What can you say about Anna?
One thing I do on a regular basis is the date is placed up on the board in French, and the children have to say it in French. We welcome each other in the morning and sort of say goodbye to each other in French as well. And then she might leave the odd flashcard for us.
Okay, remember un or une, or mon or ma, if they want to do that, that's fine. And then lining up at the door just so that it's constantly going through their brains all week.
That's fine.
Is
That's
that okay?
great. Yes, thank you very much.
And I'll leave you with those.
Lovely. Thank you.
Okay.
There were problems initially, not big problems, but the initial training sessions were fun, let's put it that way, very interactive, everyone getting involved, and I think that really sort of broke down sort of any people's fears, and people actually really understood that they actually had more of a knowledge of French than perhaps they really believed that they had, and I think it was very much about building self-confidence and self-esteem of staff and knowing that the AST Christine was always available.
Turn your chairs right round, turn your chairs right round. Good. Let's just whiz through some of the things we've been doing that I hope you remember. Well, my language background is quite limited, so way back in school days I did French to sort of O-level standard, but never a superstar at it. And since then I've done little in terms of developing my language skills there. I've been to France a couple of times, but I'm not a natural. So call out for me. Excellent. Good. I must admit, when it was first mooted, I was quite worried and scared. So pick up a card if you think you need it. See who you can find. Ask questions. Talk to each other. I should think there's other teachers in the same boat as me that have learnt French at some stage and are probably worried that it's not going to be enough. I must admit that if I had to teach year 6, I would be more concerned. But certainly teaching in year 3, possibly year 4, I could assure people that the level of French you have is probably going to be certainly enough to get you through. I'll ask you the questions. Quel âge as-tu? Good, good. Et toi? J'ai 53 ans. And I am finding that I'm enjoying it more and I am learning more myself, and it spurs you on. So the fear factor is certainly lessened. Excellent. Très bien. Au revoir. À bientôt. My worries over my vocabulary have been sort of fine. They've been eased because we don't go that fast. Et toi? All right. And do you remember the last one? It's not something that I'm going to suddenly find I can do easily, so I have to work at it. But I am enjoying it, and since we've started, then I've been pleasantly surprised how well it's gone. But I do need to refer back to the experts quite often, just to make sure I'm doing the right thing.
If you want me to team teach with you, to join in, I can do exactly what I can work with a group. It's entirely up to you at a time when it's convenient on your timetable.
I just want you to be there while I'm speaking, to see if I'm actually saying the right things.
Right, yeah,
and get
okay.
the pronunciation and then...
The teachers that I'm working with in this school have made huge stride forwards in their foreign language teaching. The teachers that were apprehensive and not sure that they could do it in September are now really keen and enthusiastic. You can see this in the way they're putting up displays in their classrooms. The children are talking to me outside of the classroom in the foreign language, and this motivates the teacher. They're wanting to do more, they're wanting to learn more, and they're doing really well.
And now we've moved to sort of individual support for CPD, and you know, people, Christine can work alongside them, Christine can do model lessons, whatever anybody needs really. And within Christine's timetable we make it flexible enough so she has a slot where she can actually go in and work alongside other people if that's what they want.
So if we're teaching in French, how much should we speak in the English?
Well, you've got those sentences that I've given you, haven't you?
Right.
So like, you know, sit nicely, come and sit on the carpet, put your pencil down. Try and use those all the time.
We also have provided staff time to go on national courses run by Sills, and again they've enjoyed what they've done there. So it's at all different levels, but clearly anything new coming on the curriculum, CPD is going to be critical. The budget's been quite small, but as we're fortunate that we share the AST, Christine, with another school, we can actually split the costs.
Super. Qu'est-ce que c'est?
The cost of the AST is covered from Standards Fund. So when Christine was appointed as an AST, there is central grants for that, and in the last couple of years that's been devolved to local educational authorities through the Standards Fund. So the full costs of the extra costs for her AST work are covered by this grant. I am fortunate in a number of my staff have a variety of language qualifications, and that certainly has made things easier.
I'm a languages graduate, and I did languages at school, French and German, and also Spanish. Bonjour la classe! Bonjour! Teach year 3, and we're doing French at the moment, and they love it, and so do I.
Can I say mi-temps, que je me passe test-moi?
Okay.
Okay. J'ai mi-temps.
Très bien. The developments for the children with the French, they are quite confident with it, and I do find that it's a great leveller with ability. So children who do lack confidence in a whole class situation, if they've been given the tools, and it is mostly oral work that we're doing at the moment, if they know the word to say, they have more confidence in saying it. J'habite à Hampton. J'habite à Hampton. Où habites-tu? Pascal, où habites-tu? Dylan, where habites-tu? I'm a fast-track teacher, which means that I take on specific projects with the whole school focus. And one of mine is to actually develop MFL in this school. I've talked to our local education authority about it, and also to SILT and various other national organisations, and hoping that we can make the most of national projects and bring them into school. Alors, arrêtez, asseyez-vous correctement. Regardez-moi. Très bien. Well done, guys. Give yourselves a clap. Give yourselves a clap. You did really well with that. Well done.
It's possible to obtain the services of a foreign language assistant through the British Council, and this is something that is increasingly being promoted. They come to a school for a period of 8 months, and they offer native speaker support during that period, often on a shared basis between a number of schools.
And then we're going to do playing the game in pairs, you know, where they have to turn over and say, c'est mon chat.
C'est ma souris.
Yeah, etc.
The kids get very excited because you're a native French speaker and they think you're the expert. It's really good because it's not only about the language, you can also talk about the culture, which is really nice, and they always ask about the frog legs and the snails and things like that. So it's nice for me as well to talk about things from where I come from. I really enjoy that.
In terms of the assistance, the authority has an SLA, a service level agreement, which is a small amount of money, which schools can pay into, and then that accesses the French assistance when they're available.
C'est mon chat, très bien. Ok, super.
One way that we could expand the range of languages we have on offer would be with links with initial teacher training institutions. A number of people coming out with PGCEs or BAQTS would have a modern language as perhaps of one of their main subjects. In terms of the future, I mean, I think for the rest of this academic year it's really sort of bedding down and evaluating what we're doing so far. So the idea possibly of Year 5 learning German for a term, and when they move on to secondary school where they'll have various options, it would be nice if they had the chance to, well, we've tried German, actually that was more for me, I've tried Spanish, that was more for me. So we want to again maximise their chances when they move on to secondary school to make the right choices.
Switch off the French, switch it off. Switch on the Japanese controls. Excellent. Okay. Konnichiwa. Konnichiwa. Currently we are taking part in a Japanese pilot project to teach Japanese to Key Stage 2 children. And we are very nearly at the end of that scheme now. We're on to lesson 9 of 10. Hands down. You're not a boy, Toby. You were the last time I looked. Watashi wa yoku dekimashita.
Watashi wa Claire desu. Boku wa Dylan desu.
The Japanese project began because one of the teachers had picked up something in the Times Educational Supplement, saw something on the internet as well, to Japan 21, an organisation, and we put a bid in to them to say we were really keen, this is what we're about at Hampton Hill Junior School, these are the languages we already do, we would like the opportunity to do this with a group of children.
We've done this, haven't we? We can do this really well. I'm going to say the words. You're going to give me the words with the actions. Are you ready?
Now they've certainly done it with other schools across the country and a similar project, but I think we did it with a Year 3 class, which I think is the youngest year group they've tried it with.
No. Go. Roku. Now, we have a scheme of lessons that we follow. The children have absolutely loved it. Okay, you're going to say the number and you're going to show me on your hands. Okay, so I know that you know exactly how much we're talking about. So they've learned how to count 1 to 10, complete with actions to help them remember. I'm going to be a bit nasty, I'm not going to do them in order. Ready?
Me.
They've learned how to introduce themselves, to talk about food and drink, to talk about sports, to talk about their families, what they like and what they don't like. And then from a cultural point of view, they've also learnt how to use chopsticks. They've sampled some food and drink like green tea and rice crackers, stuff like that. They've tried origami and they have celebrated a couple of Japanese festivals. And the highlight most recently was they got to dress up in yukata, which is a simple form of kimono.
You hear lots of things around the corridor, they're talking in Japanese, they're talking numbers, doing all sorts of things. So it's had a real spin-off for them, I think, in terms of they've enjoyed it and the fact they're using it in their incidental language and sort of telling other children about it. I mean, I think sort of exemplifies the fact they have enjoyed it.
Well, let's do it backwards, okay?
My French itself is awful and it's a real area of weakness for me. And in many ways that's probably why I feel so strongly that as a school I want the children to have the opportunities, because I think as they move forward socially and in future life it's absolutely critical.